What is Gucci Manucci's Darwin TV here, and welcome to the Half Court Podcast. I have my guest, Oscar Loza. I guess you can say he's going to be one of our co-hosts because you're going to see him here a lot. Oscar, welcome to the show again, man.
Hey, Darwin, it's really good to be here.
Are you ready for the topic? Because we're going to just jump into the spice as it is. So let me have it, man. What are you going to start off? I'm going to let you start off with the topic today.
Well, it's going to be really simple. Do you think that Kevin Durant should have played Game 5 in Toronto?
So, it really is a 50-50, but if I am Kevin Durant, I don't blame myself for trying to play on the title is on the line. You play, you get better, you practice your whole career for this moment to win a championship, to be known. So, for Kevin Durant to go out there and try to save his team from elimination, I don't blame Kevin Durant. I am kind of skeptical about the organization when it comes to the medical staff. I think they were a little bit shady. I don't know. I think if I am them, it's just, I don't know, man. I just really don't know because at the same time, your career, your as an organization, your title's on the line, man. You can go for a three-peat, and your player is your savior is injured. I don't know, man. What do you think?
Well, I can kind of somewhat agree with the 50-50 thing because if, let's say he doesn't play, right? If he doesn't play, then a lot of people are going to say he's soft, he doesn't have what he used to have, et cetera, et cetera. And now that he did play.
Well, it doesn't matter what Kevin Durant does. At the end of the day, he's still going to be soft. Like, he is known for that. Like, I just think he should have pulled a Kawhi Leonard. Like, Kawhi Leonard, when he got injured and everybody was talking, oh, they need him. He needs to come back. He needs to play. He was like, you know what? Y'all not me, so shut the hell up. I am not going to play, period. I don't give a damn what people say. And he stuck to it. And now, to this day, he is considered the second best player. Very close to number one. Very close.
Sure. Still number one in my book, but regardless.
LeBron's the king.
Not right now. He got overthrown. King of the North, baby. King
of
the North.
No. Come on. That's another argument, though. All right. And we already talked about it last podcast.
Look, regardless of this, Kevin Durant should not have played. Kevin Durant was pressured by Golden State. He's going to lose a lot of money because I don't even think Golden State is going to be able to offer him the amount of money for him to be able to stay for the next whatever many years he wants to play. So Golden State took advantage of this guy. Golden State decided to basically rip him apart, get him for the last little bits of pieces that he would have been worth, and now he's going to leave to a new team, and whichever team is going to have to think about it. Do we really want somebody that was damaged? Do we really want somebody on this team?
But here's my thing with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a special scorer. We all know that, right? We all know he's going to be the best scorer in history, right? I think the Achilles injury is not too – I'm not worried about it. If I'm Kevin Durant and let's say I'm the Knicks, just to give you an example, I think this whole injury kind of messes everything up. But if I'm the Knicks, I'm still giving him a max contract. Because, okay, I'll take another L for another season, right? Kevin Durant is such a smart player when it comes to basketball. He doesn't need any athleticism. He doesn't need any explosive quickness. He does need it, but, man, he's 7 feet tall. He shoots over anybody. So okay, if this is – now, like, if we compare it, like, okay, if it was Westbrook, Derrick Rose, or a De'Aaron Fox, I'll be worried. Those players do depend on explosiveness. Like, they do, period.
So even if you're a team and you know Kevin Durant's going to be out for a whole season, you'd still sign for the max spot?
I would, man.
You would?
Yes. Because Kevin Durant is just Kevin Durant, man. He's just this guy that it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, he got injured in Game 5 of the semi-conference, and he comes back, and he played about 10 minutes, but he was Kevin Durant. He did not touch a court for a month, comes back, and he is just saucing, just like that. Pulls up, his jump shot doesn't look like it was faded or anything. It wasn't. You get what I'm saying? So an Achilles injury is big, but not for Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant's going to take a year off. He's going to, get better. He's still in his prime, man. He's 30. He's about to be 31. So when he comes back, he might be 33. Still has enough left. He's a smart player, so I really don't think it's going to affect him that much.
Okay, I agree with some of those respects. But let's go into another thing then. So we heard stories that Kyrie Irving was thinking about getting Kevin Durant and going to the free agency with him.
And this,
So you think it's going to make a big change?
this really impacts it, because if you're Kevin Durant, what's the decision you make? You're injured.
Yeah.
You're out for the season. So if you're Kevin Durant, where do you go? Do you stay with the Golden State Warriors? Because I'm pretty sure you can say that the Warriors don't have enough to sign him, but I think they are willing to pay the luxury tax to keep him.
You think they're going to pay the luxury tax?
Whatever it takes, man. You got to do whatever it takes to maintain this dynasty. And I heard the owner commented, I don't know, it was a long time ago. He said he's willing to take anything. He's not worried about Kevin Durant leaving. That's what he said. He's confident they're going to keep Clay,
Right.
and he's confident they're going to keep Kevin Durant.
But if you keep Kevin Durant on your team, you're going to lose a lot of cap space that could have been used to other players. The luxury tax itself is going to be a lot. It's going to be double the amount
It
that we're
is.
thinking about.
And that's that you're.
And I mean, we saw the same thing happen in Oklahoma City with Carmelo Anthony, and he left magically because it was a lot of money. You add that with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's going to be even way more than just us keeping Carmelo Anthony in Oklahoma City. I don't think he's going to be able to. They can't even afford him for that unless they give him like a mid-level range. And I don't think he's going to want that. He wants the big dollars, so he might go to like the Knicks, like you're saying, or somewhere else that can pay him that money.
Yeah, you're right, and it's true, because if they do keep Kevin Durant, it's definitely going to hurt their bench. And the more stars you add, the less deep your bench is. So that is going to be also something to consider, because if you look back in, when Golden State had the big three instead of the big four, big five, their bench was a lot deeper. They had Iggy coming out of the bench. They had Barnes. They had, Bogut? Bogut was still there? Yeah. Varejao. They had Livingston, which they still have a couple of those players, but they lost a lot, man. I think Harrison Barnes was a big part of the team. David West was also another part of the team. And their bench right now isn't that deep like it used to, because they just can't afford to keep these bench players, these star players. You know what I'm saying? So
you're right.
I do understand that. But it's going to be very interesting. I think this whole Kevin Durant injury did cause headlines, and it messes up the whole entire free agency. The possibility of Kevin Durant going to the Knicks, I think it shrank a little bit.
I disagree. I think it actually went up.
Why?
Because we were hearing stories that Kevin Durant did not want to play for the Knicks because of the last podcast that we did, and I said the Knicks do not have a great organization starting from the top all the way down to the bottom.
Correct.
So even Kyrie Irving said he was thinking going from the Knicks over to Brooklyn. Right?
Yes.
Those were the rumors
that
were circulating. Right here on Darwin TV, by the way.
Yeah,
Subscribe.
Darwin TV. Yeah, everybody knows this.
Apart from that, what we have to understand here is the Knicks now have a better chance of getting somebody if they know they're going to be able to afford him and him sit out for a year. Other teams are not willing, in my opinion. I don't think they're willing to give him the same chance because they're ready to win now because fans are starting to get angry. Fans are starting to get pissed off in a lot of different cities. They're revolting. They're losing a lot of money, and a lot of teams are losing money. I think out of the 30 teams, 9 of them are in the red, so they're not even breaking even, losing money. We have 15 teams that are barely making it just because of revenue sharing alone. The smaller market teams are not completely sustainable in some areas like Charlotte. We see New York not even sustainable almost in some respects, and this is including market sharing.
But here's my thing, man. I think this changes the perspective. And I saw news that Kyrie Irving signed something with Rock Nation. I didn't pay close attention to it, but I did see Rock Nation, and Rock Nation has to do with Jay-Z, which means there is a high possibility that Kyrie Irving is going to sign with the Nets. There is a high possibility. Now, if you are, let's say, if you're Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, or possibly even Jimmy Butler, right?
Right.
Would you sign with the Knicks or the Nets?
The Nets. Not even close.
They're a better organization. They're well run.
Right. Well, I don't think that's the whole reason just yet because we still have this Russian owner. The Russian owner still is kind of newish in the scene. He hasn't been looked at as the great mind of Servion in basketball by any means necessary. He's had kind of dysfunctionality because he made those terrible trades with Boston to get Paul Pierce like so many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And that crippled it. So people thought, like, I don't really want to play for this guy. Now Brooklyn's starting to get back in it. They're no longer in New Jersey. They're actually in the forefront of New York, one of the biggest cities in the entire world that people love.
And that's the thing. You still get the big city market. You just
Right.
don't get the press that the Knicks have, like the attention that the Knicks have. It's still up to that level, but it's just not as big as the Madison Square Garden, right?
I agree. And you also got to remember that Jay-Z also has a contract with Kevin Durant as well. It's not just Kyrie Irving by any means necessary. They've worked on so many deals before in the past when Kevin Durant was even here in Oklahoma City. So that stands to my reason that Jay-Z's always wanted him to go to Brooklyn, especially when they started opening that up in the Barclays Center. Apart from that, you can look at the history of the Mecca in New York and also in Brooklyn. I don't really see the old history of the Mecca. People always tell me about it, and I still don't see it to this very day. So Brooklyn is not looking that bad of an option right now. Brooklyn to me looks kind of like the Clippers right now. People are saying that the Clippers are almost in line with Los Angeles Lakers, a scrub organization right now. But it feels like
I'm going to tell you
Brooklyn
this right now.
It's going to be better.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Kyrie Irving is reuniting with LeBron. I said it here. I said it right now. Trust me. When I say this, it is happening. And I just said it's a possibility he might join the Nets, right? But it's a 50 chance. He either goes to the Nets, depending on what other star they land, what can they do, what is the meeting looking like. But if not, Kyrie Irving and LeBron, they do it. They're a great duo, man. Come on. You cannot say they're not a great duo.
It's not going to happen. I'll even tell you why it's not going to happen.
Something's telling me it's happening.
Something
Kyrie,
tells
2.
you.
Number 11, if you want.
Something tells you?
Yes.
It's not going to happen.
Why?
Los Angeles Lakers do not have a great functionality. Their organization is ran by Jeannie Buss. Her dad, the great Buss, was one of the greatest minds of basketball that ran an organization. He made it Showtime. He made it great. He got rings up there. He got championships, banners up there.
Yeah.
If you ever go to Los Angeles, you can go up there. They don't put these little division championships like Oklahoma City does. They put championship banners on those rafters. So if they want to win, they should do what you're saying. They should go after Kyrie. But I don't think that they have the brains to do that. They were smart enough to go after LeBron James. That's a no-dust situation.
It was magic. That was magic.
Magic is no longer there because he didn't feel like he had any power. And the general manager is there. Nobody trusts the guy.
So this is what's going to happen. And whoever's running the goddamn Lakers organization, I need you to get your shit together and make the Lakers a goddamn contender, because it's going to be 7 years that the Lakers are not a goddamn championship contender, and this needs to change. Same with the Knicks.
Well, when's the last time the
Same with
Lakers
the
even
Knicks.
went to the playoffs? That should be another question. I think it's been like 6 years,
Yeah,
too.
right. Going 7. So this was going to happen, right? The Kyrie Irving is going to reunite with LeBron, and they're going to trade whoever it takes to get AD. If you want the 4th pick, take it. If you want Kuzma, which the Lakers do not want to trade him, take him. Take him. You want Ingram? Okay, take that scrub.
Okay.
Now, if we are able to land AD and Kyrie decides to go, we are automatically a contender. And I say we as a LeBron fan, by the way. Thunder, thunder, all day.
Okay. That's not going to happen.
Why?
I want it to happen. It's not, because Rich Paul is, number one, the greatest manager I've ever seen. He's even telling teams, hey, after this year, Anthony Davis is going to go to the Lakers. Correct? That's what he tells everybody. He even told Boston, don't blame me when Anthony Davis leaves next year. But there's also another team that you got to look out for, which shocks me to say this. The New York Knicks. Why are the Knicks even in this conversation? I don't know still. But if Anthony Davis goes to the Knicks can offer New Orleans a phenomenal package. Yes, they can.
That is a possibility.
A lot of young people. They can give them a first rounder this year. They can give him first rounder next year, second rounder the year after that. Junior, they can also give him Folk. Is that his name? Nick Folk. That's up there. They're going to do great things if they make that trade. And then New Orleans is going to be in the playoffs for the next a year after this year, so in 2 years from now. And then they're going to be in the Western Conference Championship in 4 years. If they do that.
If that happens, it's a possibility. If that happens, but the way I see it is, with New York, it's like it's a hit or miss because they can make that trade. They can make stuff happen and be a decent team in the East. But it's like we talked about last podcast. The Knicks are a damn train wreck. And as much as I want to be optimistic about it, they need to switch it. They need to turn shit around. But I think the only way they can do that is if they get fired, if they get rid of the responsible party behind it. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, even if this trade happens and they, AD goes to New York and they have another mediocre season where they don't make it to the playoffs, and if they do, if their first round exit, I think it's done for AD. AD wants to win. He leaves after that year.
Yeah, he does want to win. But let me ask you this. If he goes to New York with that team that he has, obviously it's not a good team. Nobody's saying it's a good team at all. He'll at least make it to the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Correct?
Yeah.
It's a higher possibility.
Right. And then they would still have one more contract.
Yeah. They'd have that big contract. They'd actually be able to sell tickets. They'd actually be able to sell out that arena. It'd be relevant for 41 games. And this ownership that I'm telling you about in New York, it's not just considered just because of basketball alone. They're considered to be an organization that also wants to sell the tickets for the Garden. So if they're selling the Garden tickets, they're going to be relevant for 41 days. And then more people, more big celebrities are going to want to go to the Garden. More press is going to be there. They're going to sell more tickets. They're going to be able to make more money. So then they're going to be able to not just say, hey, we just had Anthony Davis for a year. Now we have cap space for years to come. So this could actually be beneficial for New York a little bit because we're going to be able to make a lot of money, and then the NBA even makes even more money for revenue sharing, which means they're going to be able to do more things. That's why it's great for New York to make this trade, even if he's a rental for 1 year. And last time I checked, renting a player for 1 year is kind of a good thing.
It is.
For 4 teams. And I think the last team that rented a player, didn't they make it all the way to the finals? They're 1 win away. 1 win away.
Of course. And then this is the thing.
They're not winning it, but they're 1 win away.
They're 1 win away. And let me get to it because I think this is something we should have start right off the bat because I normally divide these podcasts into 2. And it takes a couple of days, maybe a week to upload. This I'll have it probably ready in a couple of days. But let's talk about this playoff series, this finals matchup, so that way it can be a part of the first part of the podcast. Game 6 is tonight. I probably will have this podcast ready in a couple of days, like I mentioned. What's going to happen? Raptors are winning this one. Simple. They're closing it in the Oracle Arena. They are giving the Golden State Warriors their final L in that arena. And Kawhi Leonard wins Finals MVP.
I'm telling you this right now. I was wrong. I was wrong, America. I said Golden State in 6. Did I not say that?
Yes. And what did I keep saying?
You said Raptors in 6, right? I may not always be right. It's okay. But I'm never wrong. Golden State's still winning this series.
No. That's not happening. And if we dig deep into it, this is not me being a Golden State Warrior hater. This is me kind of analyzing and do what I do best, right? It's a 50-50 chance. Let's be 100. I still think the Raptors are going to close it just because under pressure, Golden State tends to shrink sometimes, right? Right?
What?
So, here's my concern. My concern with the players are with the Raptors, right? Because we know Kawhi is going to drop 35. We know that.
Right.
We know he's going to defend. I'm concerned of Siakam is one of my concerns because he's an on and off. He had
Spicy P?
Yes, he had one great game, which was game 1. One great game.
I bought the shirt. Man, Spicy P's making it.
Larry has been playing pretty good.
You said trade him. Kyle,
still trade him.
You said
still
trade
him. He has been playing decent to the point where I think if they win tonight, he deserves this one. He's been playing trash all season long. Played the trash in a couple of playoff series, but in this one, he's been playing decent. I don't agree with that last shot. I feel like he should have did a pump fake. Right? My other concern, Gasol has been playing good.
He's been playing pretty good.
Ibaka's been playing good, but not at the level of Golden State, right? So we know that Klay Thompson can catch fire. When he catches fire, it's over. We know Steph Curry can catch fire, and boy, we don't want that to happen. Now, if these people get DeMarcus Cousins in rhythm, which has been happening lately, last game he was getting a couple of buckets, a couple of rebounds. It can go either way. It just depends on what player for the Raptors are going to be, who's going to be their second option as far as scoring. That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, Golden State has a pretty good defense mindset right now. And we saw it the day Spicy P was making all them shots. The reason why I say this is they took the greatest player in the NBA out by basically almost double teaming him.
By the way, I think what cost us Game 5 was that goddamn timeout.
I agree.
Let me mention that, by the way. Nick Nurse is a great coach, has done a great job, but goddamn, why call a timeout when your team is on fire?
Yeah, I completely agree.
You let Golden State reset? Really?
I said why. I was watching the game, and I said, why in the world would Nick Nurse call a timeout? Your team's getting hot. Golden State has no idea what they're doing right now. They're nervous, and then magically you call a timeout?
For no
I was confused.
reason.
I thought it was a media timeout.
They're saying that maybe it was Larry that did, call the timeout.
No, it wasn't. It was Nick Nurse. Oh. You think Lowry would have called a timeout? He's already getting traded, apparently, by your standards.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to make it faster. But no, that did cost him the game. But apart from that, Kawhi Leonard is gonna drop 35 like you're saying. Lowry's gonna do his thing and get 22. But who's gonna be the third option? You can't just depend on Spicy P doing his spice thing. He's not gonna do it. You can't expect Gasol to hit 30. You can't expect him to hit 20. You can't expect Serge Ibaka to do anything much except maybe get a double-double. That's the best you're gonna do. I'm telling you now. Curry's going to hit his 35. You're going to see Klay Thompson do his thing. You're also going to see Draymond Green getting a little mean and a little dirty against Kawhi Leonard. He's probably going to get thrown out of this game.
I just think
I'm telling you now, Draymond Green probably will not play game. If they win today, he's not going to play game 7 because he already has 6 technicals.
Right, he has to watch out for that.
More.
He has to
Don't
watch
you remember
out for
last
that.
time he did this, Cleveland won a championship because of him. It might happen again. I'm a history teacher. History repeats itself. Draymond Green is going to get out of this game. He's going to play the whole game, get 1 technical, and not play game 7. That's the only
You heard it here,
reason
ladies and gentlemen. By
Toronto
Oscar.
might win game 7, in my opinion, because they're down 2 All-Stars. But they're winning tonight. I'm telling you now.
I think Toronto has enough because I'm not worried because Toronto has won 2 home games. Well, I'm sorry, 2 road games. Let me just be more specific.
Cool.
2 road games.
Kevin Durant wasn't playing in 1, and neither was Thompson. And in the same game,
But the one that Thompson was playing, though. What about that one?
He was also injured that game. Okay, he was also playing trash. But apart from that, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty.
We'll have to see now. If it goes to game 7, I think right now Golden State has leverage to push it to game 7. They're at home. They play pretty good at home.
Playing the last game in Oracle.
Then it's the last game, so they have to make a statement. Now, I think that if it goes to game 7, pressure is on Golden State.
No, it's not.
Raptors. I know.
It's going to be on the Raptors.
It's going to be on the Raptors because they are at home, which Danny Green tends to play good at home. Several players do tend to play good at home. We know Kawhi's going to do Kawhi, but he needs help. So, really, the pressure is on the home team to protect home court advantage. So, I do take that back.
Yeah, and plus, they're going to be pressured because they're playing against a
But
team
Golden
that's
State,
losing
in a
two
game
players.
7, they don't do good. Especially in the finals. We saw what happened in 2016, so I'm not worried. They didn't score
Yeah,
in like 4 minutes.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Golden State's still winning this game. I don't know what you've been doing.
Oh, my God.
But Golden State is going to win it. But it
Okay.
doesn't even matter about this game because we still have all this free agency that we have to worry about next week. After all, free agency starts June 30th. You're not going to see Kawhi in that jersey anymore after this.
Okay. I think this is something we haven't talked about, but I think this is something that is a possibility. So, Carmelo Anthony, do
My
you still pick
man.
him up?
Would I pick him up?
Yeah.
Well, right now he's still a part of Houston. By the way, this kind of confused me and boggled my mind a little bit because was still technically a part of the Cleveland organization.
Right.
And the same way Carmelo was still technically a part of the Houston organization. I don't know why they just didn't say, hey, Carmelo, why don't you actually come to the playoffs? They probably could have used him and probably would have won a game, I think, if he was just there. I don't know why they just said, we don't want you back. I'm still kind of confused why they said that. Like, did he do something that said, like, hey, he's toxic to the team, he's poison to the team? I didn't hear anything like that. They just said, don't come back. We have no idea why they said this. We don't know why they just didn't cancel his contract out so another team could have picked him up. That would have released some cap space, and you would have been able to get somebody else back. That could have actually helped you.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
what they should do, because they completely gave up, and I think there should be some major changes happening to the Rockets. I don't know if they're going to happen, but they should release Carmelo, and Carmelo would do good. I don't think he's that expensive anymore. No, right? So I think he would do good at, even with Braun, I think he would do good.
Do you know what team he's going to do great in?
What team?
A China team, because he's not going to be in the NBA.
I was going to say Thunder, but we already saw how that aged. That did not age well.
Look, if you
That
really
did not
want
age well.
my honest opinion, I've been telling you the truth here. If you are a team that just isn't selling tickets, I would just go ahead and get Carmelo Anthony. I would just get him in Phoenix for a year. Just sell out the arena every once in a while, or whatever team isn't doing that great. Be able to sell some merchandise. I mean, it is what it is. He's not going to be able to help you and tip over anything. He's not going to make you that much better than what you are. I think he's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame. There's no question about it. If he wants to win a championship, the best chance for him is when Kevin Durant leaves or whoever leaves in Golden State, he's just going to be able to try and get on there with the league minimum. That's the only way he can do anything.
Man, and this goes, now that you mentioned Phoenix, this goes, we're going to touch here on the small markets, because like the NFL compared to the NBA, the NFL, you can watch any goddamn NFL game and you will enjoy it because it's so well balanced, right? So when you talk about the NBA is more all about big markets. It's all about that, and it changed so much because now we go from every player having their own team and not caring about where they go to now all of a sudden the rumors are, oh, does he want to go to this big market? Does he want to go to this New York, Miami, Lakers, Los Angeles? Yeah. It's changed drastically.
Right. So
is the NBA going to end up doing something to keep this balance, especially like the West versus the East? Everybody is going to the West. Like, now that you're going to lose Kawhi Leonard because he's going to go to the goddamn West.
Right.
You might have Kyrie that might stay in, the Nets. I don't see anybody else.
Well, I'm going to say that you're wrong about the NFL and the NBA.
Why?
Because of this reason. I've played football. Like, I have everything in my life because of football. And the reason I say that is people cheer for the shield. People cheer for football for the team that's on the front of your jersey, not the name on your back.
Right.
So that's a huge difference. So there's a lot of people, like, let's say your favorite team could be like, let's say the Dallas Cowboys or whoever it could be. I could say I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I don't know all the players on the Dallas Cowboys. And plus, since they have all the helmets and everything else, I may not even know who they are if they take it off. The NBA is completely different in this aspect.
Right, because you're going for a player.
Right, you go for a player. Like you yourself, you love the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm a big Oklahoma City Thunder fan, but
no, you're not.
But
not a big one.
No. Let me finish.
You said an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Sleep.
But you still cheer for LeBron James, right? Because
Correct.
you cheer for the player, right? You don't care what team he's on. You cheer for the player. You still like the Thunder because they're your home team. Yet that's why I'm saying it's a little bit different. And if we start looking at the smaller markets like you keep talking about, I'm sorry, not smaller markets. If we keep looking at exactly how to balance it, the commissioner gave us a great explanation on what to do. He said, instead of just following the best 8 players on one side and the best 8 teams on one side and the best 8 teams on the other side, what we should do is get the best overall teams and just split up the brackets. That way, it's going to be the number 1 seed, and that number 1 seed on each side could be from the Western Conference.
I do. I think it should be. I just think the reason why the NBA hasn't done that yet, I think it should be the first top 16 teams, period. Doesn't matter if it's the West dominates that bracket or the East. I just think it should be the top. I think the reason why they don't do that is because of travel management. So let's say West in the first round is going to meet an East team, so you got to travel from the Los Angeles all the way to fucking Massachusetts, or you know what I'm saying, like Boston.
Yeah, but it kind of helps it out.
How?
You'd have more diversification. You'd have more individuals actually going with individuals that actually want to play against other teams in different conferences in different areas. And you can look at this in 2 aspects. You can say that the NFL does this already. They have the American and they have the national. And you could have, and if you look at it, you have the Oakland Raiders and the San Francisco 49ers. They're in completely 2 different conferences, yet they're right next to each other. That's actually going to be a hindrance. Apart from this situation, you can also look and see NCAA college basketball. You could have a 1 seed completely from the same exact conference, from the SEC overall or the ACC or whatever conference it is. People are still watching the NCAA championship. You had 1 year, you had it from the same exact conference, and it was still one of the most televised games.
I do think it should be that way. I agree, but that's just my opinion. I just think that's the way the NBA is just kind of finding a way how they can, manage that traveling, and because I think that's the only issue with it. I think they should do that, because it'll be more competitive. It would be more exciting. I mean, like the second round of the conference finals, that should have been the finals. Houston versus Golden State. That should have been the finals.
I agree with you 100%. But you also have to look at it. Houston was also a 4 seed, right? So would they have been a 4 seed still in that whole spectrum of the desperate in which we're talking about? Would we even seen them if they were a 1 and a 2? Back to back, then that would have been the finals itself if that would have been the best thing ever. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that, and we're seeing finals that are being swept. We saw it before when we had Chicago just dominating everything, when we had Detroit dominating everything with the Eastern Conference before, and just sweeping teams. These 7-game series are only happening in their own conferences because they see each other more. We're not really seeing the old conferences where we had Boston going up against Los Angeles all the way to Game 7. Those were spectacular. People are still watching them. People are still making documentaries about those, but they're not happening today. These Game 6s, these Game 7s are happening inside of their own conferences.
Yeah, you have a point there. I got to give that one to you. It is pretty much that. That is, they're not that familiar when it comes to West versus East. And that's why we saw a dominant Toronto. Obviously, injuries have to do with it. But it's just, you're right. The conferences are more familiar with each other, so you get to see a more closer game because one team dominates, but it's still a close game. The other team figures it out, and it just goes a longer series. So what if you're the NBA commissioner? What would you do for these smaller markets? I mean, there's not much you can do.
Right. So, we argued about this left and right because I'm an individual that believes in the free market. I think if you are a team, why in the world can you not say, I want to be able to get as many great players as I want, and I can still play them whatever I think I want if they want to join. So that means I don't have to pay them max dollar deals. If they want to be able to sign for $10 million instead of me paying them $30 million, I should be able to do that. Yet many people are saying if I do that, then obviously we're going to create super teams, and they're only going to be in selected markets. And it would know, and it's clearly obvious, even if you follow the free market thing that I'm talking about, you would know that those other individualized teams would not be able to be competitive. Fans would not want to go to those games. Fans are going to be very upset watching a team tank. You think people were happy in Philadelphia watching the process for 3 years? They weren't happy watching that.
Yeah. So do you think this is fair if I'm the NBA commissioner and I'd be like, you know what? These smaller markets, I'm going to let them offer them a little bit more cash to these players. So if let's give you an example. If I'm Memphis, I'm going to offer you a couple of more millions than a bigger market like Los Angeles. Would that be fair to kind of attract that big player to a smaller market?
It sounds fair. Like, it does sound fair. It sounds equitable. It doesn't sound equal. So equitability-wise, it might work. But do these athletes still want to do that? Because what is the percentage rate? So if you're saying I'm going to be able to offer this person from $20 million up to $25 million, people are going to say, like, well, that's $5 million I'm leaving on the table. I might be able to make that up.
And endorsements and all that.
Yeah, with endorsements and everything. But apart from that, it's still $20 million, and I get to live wherever I want. It's not just some big discrepancy going from $1 million to $40 million.
I think the amount, if we do that, has to be a significant, maybe minimum $10 million difference.
Well,
if this team, if this smaller market can offer me $10 million more,
okay,
that's a big jump.
Yeah, that's a huge jump.
And you're
most
leaving
likely
$10 million on the table.
Less taxes,
right?
So you're going to keep more of that money. But it's also not what I'm upset with the NBA. I think that they could do a lot of things with their draft lottery in their process, because you still have teams trying to tank, which is terrible.
But I think that the NBA is also finding a way to get rid of the tank process.
Yeah, but the situation in which they've created isn't making it better. The situation that they've done for the upcoming years, they're still going to encourage tanking. So in all aspects of reality, it's still going to happen. They tried to limit tanking with what they had before, with the percentage-wise. So even if you're the worst team in the NBA, that doesn't mean you get the number one overall spot. You get like
because the percentage now is different. If you were to tank, the percentage is different. You can tank all year, but that doesn't secure you the number one lottery spot, period.
And if you do that in the upcoming years, when they said we're going to make these drastic changes, it's still not going to mean anything. So in all reality, it feels like teams are still going to want to tank. But what do I get out of it? If I'm a paying customer, what do I get out of this?
But here, this is what I find funny. The Lakers did not tank, and they had a high chance to land the number one spot with the best player on their team, best player in the world on their team.
Yeah, because of the percentages. But we could also do another aspect route where if you are an individualized team, so what I'm saying is, if you are a really bad team, why in the world can I not try and pay an athlete more money compared to a really good team? So let's pretend you're the Golden State Warriors, right? And let's say you're a bad organization that isn't getting a lot of people in the door. Who just give me a name.
Of what?
Okay, great. I'll say Oklahoma City, the scrub team of the year. Fine. Let's say Phoenicia.
Let's go there. Let's just go there.
Let's just say a team. Why not? The Atlanta Hawks, right? Atlanta hasn't been on the up and up in a while.
Right.
Right. So let's say Atlanta, they should be able to say, hey, for that individualized player that comes out of the draft, we should be able to pay that player more money compared to Golden State. That way, if you started off right at the beginning, these college athletes don't have any money.
Right. They're broke as hell.
They're not in the free agency. They're broke.
Yeah.
So if they're able to offer these athletes and they say, Golden State, you were the best team last year, you have a cap space of $800,000, right, for the first round. That's what you get, $800,000. If one of these 32 players wants to come to you, you can do that. Or if you're Atlanta, and let's say they were the worst team that year, let's just pretend they were, then they can offer a player $5 million, which is a huge discrepancy just for that first year. Or for first year you get 5, and then et cetera, et cetera. That way, players have the choice. They can say, do I want to go to the best team, which is Golden State and might get me a championship, or do I want to be able to go to a team that's going to pay me a lot of money now? I can ball out and get more money and more championships. That way, that could spread out the dichotomy and spread out the players throughout the entire NBA, including the smaller market teams. That might be a possibility, but that sounds so like really far advanced.
Right,
and people can't just pinpoint exactly where it's going to be. That would discourage tanking, because at this point, if you're an athlete, you're going to have to say, it's not just about me where I go. I actually have a little bit of choice in this matter.
Right.
That would mean more players in a better NBA, more competitiveness.
Yep. And then it's definitely would be more an all-around NBA back in like the early 2000s, which it really didn't matter where you go. As long as you would get paid, people did not give a damn about where and what city they were living in. So
right.
I think right now is the era of the superstars. And if you are the NBA, would you also do something about these goddamn super teams? I would limit it 3 at the max. Like, but this is the thing. Then it's like we mentioned, like you said before, like who do you determine as a superstar? Yeah,
because right now it's the media. The media gets to determine exactly what team, like first team, second team, and third team. So you get the top 5 players, second top 5 players,
right,
and third top 5 players. So if it's the media deciding it, they have a narrative. If they don't want something, they're not going to do it. So that's not really a great aspect, because you could look at Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is possibly one of the best NBA players at all.
He should have made
and he
it
didn't
first.
get first, second, or third.
Second.
And that cost him a lot of money itself. So he can't even get the Supermax. And by the way, because he didn't get the Supermax, I'm telling you right now, Golden State is the happiest team in the world, because they're going to be able to re-sign him, and they get to pay him a whole lot less money than they thought. So that's one, but that's still not fair. He's losing close to $50 to $75 million, depending on where it would have been at, and that's not fair for him.
Because he's worth it.
Right, he should be worth it. There should be an overall pie, like an overall 100%, how in the world they get to determine it. Like you could say 20% of that comes from the media, 20% comes from the players, 20% comes from like the fans or something. Like it has to be.
I just feel like the fans should not vote, because they just go by whoever popularity. There you go. Because it says
Bigger
a lot
markets.
with Lonzo. They wanted to put Lonzo in the All-Star game when he is not even playing as a damn sophomore rookie kind of player. Like he's just not. So I think the fans should not do that, because they don't know what players deserve it. They just go by popularity and what.
Would you get rid of Lonzo and the Lakers?
Depends on who we pick up. It just really depends. I still have faith in Lonzo. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of him, but it just really depends. If we're not able to pick up anybody, obviously you got to keep him. He's a great defender, great passer, strong.
Strong what?
Just a strong guard.
Strong guard?
Yeah.
Strong in what? He doesn't look like he's ever seen a weight room
6'7".
before. He's a what?
6'7".
Oh, my God.
He can bully any guard.
He can bully guards?
Yeah.
Name one he can bully. Can he bully Patrick Beverly? Can he bully Russell Westbrook?
No.
Who can he bully?
No.
You can't even
Chris
think of
Paul.
one. Who?
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul?
Yeah.
You can't even bully Paul.
He can bully Mario Chalmers.
Mario.
Oh my God, Oscar. Oh my God. But it just all depends, man. It really just depends on what the Lakers do.
Mario Chalmers.
What the Lakers do, man. Yeah. I'm really excited for these finals. I think, like I said, the Raptors close it. And we are already 45 minutes in. So we are going to wrap this podcast. Very interesting topics. Very interesting podcast. So if you are still watching this, make sure to leave a feedback. Hit them with the whoa. Darwin TV. Find me on Instagram, DarwinTV_. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.